Jim Gordon here in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel. Time for another edition of Richmond Stories. Seair Sea Planes was founded by Peter Clark, a pilot who grew up in BC, dreaming from a young age about flying seaplanes on the West Coast. Peter financed flying lessons and the purchase of his first seaplane by working as a fishing guide. In the early 80s, he acquired his first plane, a Cessna 185. Shortly after that, he started his business, flying charters to lodges, into the backcountry, fishing spots, along with other charters for such companies as lumber companies, commercial fisheries, and the Canadian Navy. Seair Sea Planes' main base is located at the Vancouver International Seaplane Base, near the south terminal of the Vancouver International Airport. Being on the Fraser River, the office, reception area, and hangar are conveniently located close to the airport for passengers with commercial flights and connections.
Clearance, good morning, Caravan, Golf India, Golf Oscar, for the west south 5 Salmon for Nanaimo.
Golf India, Golf Oscar, Salmon, squawk 0771.
Well, we are now joined by the head guy here at Seair Sea Planes in the hangar. This is where all the hub is with the planes. Peter Clark joins us now. Peter, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming by.
Oh, it's great to see you, sir, and it's great to be in the middle of all the action here. As we'd like to do with a lot of these great local business stories, let's talk about the beginnings for you. You're another one of those guys that starts the company. We jump ahead 4 decades. You're still here, still passionate, still loving what you do. You buy, I gotta get this right because there's a great story here. In 1982, you buy your first plane, a Cessna 185, and your parents do what?
Well, they said I'm completely out of my mind. And they said when I go broke the next year, they were not gonna bail me out.
Yeah.
And they said it was a terrible idea, never gonna make money in the aviation business. And I love flying. I grew up, flying with my father's plane.
Yeah.
And I knew what I wanted to do when I was young. And so, yep, they said you buy a plane, we're going to disown you and not bail you out. And so I went ahead and did it, and I got one and never looked back. And to this day, I still love my job.
We can hear a plane coming up above us here. We're out where all the action is near the South Terminal. Can you describe the flying options in the environment back in 1982? Somebody wanted to go to one of the Gulf Islands or go up island a little bit. What options did you just see a need there that wasn't being fulfilled?
Yeah, I love flying, and this coast is just, it's so beautiful. So many places to go. So many people don't realize, all the neat bays, inlets, channels, islands that you can go to.
Sure.
I did lease myself and my plane out for the first few years, and I just wanted to fly more, and so I ended up applying for a Transport Canada license to operate, and then that's when I started adding planes. So when I got my pilot's license, I got my student pilot permit on my birthday, and when I turned 16.
Yeah.
I got my private pilot license on my birthday when I turned 17, and then I did the same thing with a commercial license on my birthday on 18 years old. So I was flying already quite early with my father. And so I wanted to, keep, flying on this coast and float. So that was, just still to this day, I do it all over again, the same thing.
We'll move on in a second, but just talking again about your youth and sticking to what you love, and that's, I always think, the secret of life. So your father, even though you flew with him and he knew what he was doing, and that he still said you're not this is not going to work well.
That's correct. He only flew privately,
Okay.
and a lot of my family is in the aviation. My little sister is a second girl pilot hired at Air Canada.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she's retired now. And my father did fly in the Air Force, but never flew commercially. He was a test jet engineer for Pratt & Whitney for many years. But I grew up on a fishing lodge that he started. And the only way in there was a long boat ride or a short slow plane ride. So
Yeah, but you bought your first plane. You start Seair in shortly around that time, not long after. But you obviously were a prudent businessman because you had one plane, and that helped you and kept you going for the next dozen years until you started buying planes.
that's right. I bought my first plane because I knew nobody would give me a job. I had to have thousands of hours, so I didn't even really apply.
Right.
I got my plane, and then I got my own work, and that's how I started. And then the work just started coming. And there was a lot of airlines back then, a lot of seaplane airlines.
Oh, there were, okay.
There's dozens and dozens on the coast here, from Vancouver Island to the mainland of Vancouver here. And many of those airlines have all been bought up or gone out of business. But we're really, we did a lot of logging in the old day, and we did a lot of commercial fishing. Those are all, both industries have sort of faded away, but a lot of new industries have come up, as in sport fishing,
Movies, you were saying.
movies.
Yeah.
We do 4 or 5 movies a year. We have scheduled flights, to the Gulf Islands and in IMO. There's lots of work, and we're well sort of spread out amongst the different industries.
You also describe something that is very important when you own your own business, and that is evolve or die. So what you were doing back 40 years ago with logging and fishing has now evolved into so many other things. Jump ahead 40 years, 45 years, and the company is success. Where are you flying to today? Because you're a mixture of direct routes and daily flights, but you also have really capitalized on that desire for people to want to rent a private plane and fly to this place or that place.
Yeah, so on the scheduled flights, we have, I think, 34 flights a day, all by seaplane to the different islands. A very short flight over the Gulf Islands, anywhere from 9 minutes to 18 minutes. You save a lot of weekend time versus the ferries. And, it's convenient. And it's similar pricing as the ferries too.
Right.
But our main business is chartering, and we do a lot of fishing lodges, construction sites, private islands, waterfront homes, boats. You can go fly into marinas, remote properties. So again, quite varied, and I've been just about every bay and inlet and island on the coast.
Yeah.
And most of our pilots have too. So.
One of the planes you first showed us when we arrived here is the de Havilland Beaver, which is a pride and joy for you. We got a chance to look inside it. There's a coin there. Tell our viewers a little bit about this magnificent plane, which you said will be in the Aviation Hall of Fame.
Yep, it'll be in one of the museums for sure. It is the de Havilland Beaver, serial number 1000, and it was given to Philip Clark Garrett, who was the president and the one who was instrumental in putting a crew together to design the Beaver. And they built 1,000 of these, and the 1,000th was given to him from the company as a gift for being so successful, making this airplane open up the north, the Arctic, Northern Ontario, British Columbia, Quebec. You can put it on skis, you can put it on floats, go on wheels. It really did open up that back bush country. So Canada made 10 coins of all their top 10 engineering feats of all time. The de Havilland Beaver was one of them.
Wow.
And on this coin is our Beaver, serial number 1000, PCG, and there's a head bust of the guy that developed this Beaver, Philip Clark. He's in gold on this coin. And we mounted the coin in an instrument hole in the dash of this Beaver. But we're not ready to give it up yet because it's still got lots of hours left on her to keep using.
Not to mention, you said too that the price tag on some of these classic float planes is I found it quite amazing that you decided to sell something like that.
Yeah, that plane, brand new, back in 1957, was about $16,000 to purchase it. Today, I wouldn't sell it for $816,000. So kept in good shape and maintained. Seaplanes, all of them increased in value. It's a good investment. I make more money on my planes than I do in the stock market.
That's a little financial advice for you viewers. You have 3 planes in here in the hangar where we are right now. How many planes do you have in the fleet at this time?
Right now we have 12, and 7 of them are the new Cessna Caravan. Really the only major seaplane being built in the world still today. We bought all ours factory new from the factory. We've special ordered them to the way we want them, and we put them on floats. And then we have 3 piston beavers and 2 turbine beavers.
Right.
The turbo beaver is used on our charter flights, and we also use that plane for a Navy contract.
Let's talk about, I'm looking around, a lot of the Caravan is the common line that you seem to be using a lot of. Can you explain the difference, say, between the Caravan and a Cessna? Pardon my aviation ignorance.
Yeah,
but,
the Caravan is the new age of seaplanes. They go twice as fast as the piston beaver. They're twice as quiet. You know, you as a pilot flying them, you don't get as fatigued as much because of the noise, the vibration.
Sure.
You can fly one all day and not be tired, where a piston beaver, you know, pilots get, you know, fatigued after flying for a couple hours just because of the noise and the vibration. But the Caravans, you know, they come a long way, you know, in 50 years designing airplanes. So the Caravan is the future, and a lot of our customers just love it. Even though it could be 1 person or 9 people in the Caravan, they will take that because of the newness and, you know, the many features it has versus the older, aging seaplanes.
And one of the features too you were mentioning is just the reduction in noise. Like you were saying with some of the newer planes that you guys have in your fleet, you and I can talk like this.
That's right.
While on the plane, and you're not shouting and yelling.
In the Caravan, everybody has an air vent, has a reading light.
Yeah.
They have shoulder harnesses. Which airplanes have shoulder harnesses? None.
None that I've been on.
It's none. All of ours have the shoulder harness. So there's a lot of safety features in there. Yes, we can talk inside the Caravan just like we are today here, Jim. Unlike the Beaver, where you have to raise your voice considerably.
How many people, if you don't mind me asking, how many people passengers are you flying per year?
Out of the airport here, we're probably flying 45 to 50,000 passengers per year.
Very cool. One of the great accomplishments that you told me about before we came on camera is for people out there with disabilities. You're a good friend and a fan of Rick Hansen, and what this is, you've really done your best to kind of assist people that need assistance in terms of getting on some of your planes, which is a great story.
We have a friend here, her name is Butch Williams, and with a conjunction of Chloe Angus and Rick Hansen, we've developed a mobility lift which will attach from the dock to the airplane, and person who has mobility issues, handicapped, or has a new knee or a new hip, and those are people coming from the Gulf Islands over to Vancouver General, and then of course they don't want to go back on a BC ferry because they can't get out of their car and go up top, which is a requirement now. So the seaplane is a good option for them, and this wheelchair will come up to our lift, transfer from the wheelchair into a seat, and by battery operated switch, we just send them right up the lift, right into the seat. We don't have to touch the person. It's a really cool feature. We hope to, generate more passengers and service these people that have these mobility issues, because float planes in the past were not so much of an option. And before we would do it, we would take Rick Hansen and pull them and push them and prod them and drag them into a seat. Now we don't have to touch them. It's a great invention, and this Butch who designed this has done a fantastic job, and Rick Hansen has been a big help in that making this unit.
Last question for you. Let's look into a crystal ball, look ahead 10 years. Where do you see things? More routes, more planes? You tell us the next 5 years even.
Yeah, I just continue growth, slow growth. Keep buying planes every 2 or 3 years, and another route, more charters. Just keep going. I'm passionate about the business. I love my job. I want to keep doing it for many years to come.
I think you have found the secret of life, sir, as I've always believed. Find what you love and see if you can make a living at it. That's the way to go.
Next time you come out, let's go fishing.
Okay. I will not be in a suit jacket for that, I can guarantee it. Hey, we're here with Peter Clark. We're out at the South Terminal area here in Richmond. and he is the founder and president of Seair Sea Planes, who has been really showing us the ropes here today. We're in the hangar. Thank you for another great Richmond story, sir.
Thank you, Peter.
Just after we sat and chatted, Peter gave me the opportunity to get into one of their newer planes, to sit in the co-pilot seat and see all the technology that is involved in one of these modern float planes. Okay, so Peter, we're in one of the newer planes?
Yes, this is a Cessna Caravan. It has the the Garmin G1000.
Yeah.
3 computer screens, do 13,000 different functions.
Wow.
So the pilots that have been flying these planes here for a few years are still learning about all the different functions they can do.
Right.
You can program flight plans in here. They got the GPS, they got synthetic vision. We can follow other airplanes flying all around us. Screen will light up when they get closer in distance and in altitude, warning us that there's other airplanes in the vicinity. So a very similar system they have in corporate jets.
Right.
A big jump and improvement in all aspects for navigation, operation, and safety versus the old de Havilland Beaver.
Well, when you started, though, I was under the impression that, say, that float planes, you were really flying by feel and your acknowledged knowledge of the area. If you're going, say, through some darkness, obviously, or fog, but has this made that a lot easier for you guys now?
When I started, there was no GPS. There wasn't even Loran C came later. It was mainly all dead reckoning and memorization of the coast.
Yeah.
And especially in the low visibility and bad weather. But with these tools on here, we know where we are exactly at all times.
Oh, that's great.
Also, on all of Seair's airplanes, we have a satellite tracking system. The plane sends a signal to the satellite every 2 minutes. We know where that plane is at all times, the altitude, the airspeed, the direction of flight, and it follows a track that we monitor at all our bases. So we can tell where that plane lands, takes off, and how high it is, and we can tell the customers when he's arriving. Aviation is really advanced, and this plane has really helped us out a lot.